Yeah, sure. So, in today's lecture, we are going to start with the next tool, which is Jenkins. Okay. So, let's start with the Jenkins. So you have shared your screen. Can you open a web browser? Yeah. And can you search for DevOps lifecycle? DevOps lifecycle. Yeah. Can you open any of one image of it? Go back. Open the images. That infinite loop image. Okay. Okay. Fine. So first of all, tell me how many of you remember this image, the infinite loop image or the infinite sign of the DevOps lifecycle? Any one of you? I think these are covered in our previous lectures.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So can anyone tell me what does this infinite loop generally tells us, or it represents the DevOps?
Developing and operations doing simultaneously, like infinitely.
Yeah, correct. So this infinite loop generally tells us that how the DevOps methodology is and how the DevOps role will work. Okay, in short, we can say that what will be the role of the DevOps engineers and what they will need to do. Okay, so you can see the infinite loop. There are multiple phases. Okay, which are generally considered in the loop or which are going inside the loop. Okay, so some phases are completed by your development team and some phases are completed by your operations team. Okay. So you can see there are multiple phases. If you see closely, so there is a first phase named code. Then there is second named plan, and then operate, deploy, release, test, and there are many phases. Okay. Now what generally happens, let's say for an example, you are working in an organization and your organization is having a project to develop a software application like Zomato. I think everyone is knowing what Zomato and what does the Zomato is. Okay. So let's say for an example, you are working on a project or your organization is having a project to build a Zomato application. Okay. Now, how you will build the Zomato application? So for building the Zomato application, basically you will use a life cycle for it. Okay, a software development life cycle. Okay, and inside the software development life cycle, these whole phases are included. Okay, these topics like software development life cycle and all, these are also covered in the your, we can say, the professional degrees like the BCA, BTech and all. So I think everybody will be knowing with it, like what is the software development life cycle and all. Okay, so I consider that everybody is knowing with it. Okay, if anybody is having any doubt or don't know that what is a software development life cycle, they can ask it. Okay, so whenever a company is having a project, or we can say a software which needs to be developed, each company uses a software development life cycle for it. Okay, and that software development life cycle consists of multiple phases which needs to be followed. Okay, and these are the phases which are mentioned here, which are generally considered in the software development life cycle, which where a company uses this life cycle to build a software. Okay, now let's see each and every phase. Then you will came to know that what is the use of Jenkins here, or how the Jenkins tool is built and inspired from this life cycle. Okay, so let's say you want to build a Zomato application, a software application. So for that, first and the foremost thing what you will need to do is you will need to plan for it. Okay. So there is a phase named plan. So you will plan for that application, like how the application should be, or how the UI of the application look like, what are the features the application should have. You will consider many meetings or take many meetings with the clients and all to decide the final application, like how the final application will be. Okay, consider if the client said that I need the application with the whole full red background and with these three features and many more. Okay, so that all generally comes under the planning phase. Then you are having a second phase named code. You can see that whole infinite loop. After planning, there is a second phase named code. Okay, where the code phase is also known as a development phase. Okay, so what generally happens in code phase? So in code phase or in the development phase, actual the software application gets started for the developing. Okay, in this phase, your software developers or software engineers develop the code or write the code for your software application. Okay, so in short, we can say that the whole building process or developing process of the software application begins from your coding, or we can say the development phase. Okay, so in your code phase, your software application is developed. Then comes your third phase, which is build phase. Now, what is build phase? So whatever the application, or we can say the code, which was developed by your software engineer, that code is generally build, like there are builds are created in the build phase. Now what is exactly a build? So let's say for an example, I'm just giving an example. Let's say for an example, if I'm having a code, okay, or an application, and that application is having a code of it, okay, and there are 10 files of code. Okay, so what you can do is, by building a software application, what you can do is, or by creating a build of the application, what you can do is, instead of using that whole 10 files for your deployment, like the deployment in actual your certain server, you can only create two files from it. Okay, and deploy your actual two files in your deployment, or we can say on your server. By this, what you are doing is, you are reducing the number of files of your code application, or we can say of your code which is needed for that application. Okay, so that generally comes under your build phase, where you are building the application, meaning you are reducing the file size, or we can say the code size of application. Okay, the application, or we can say the features inside it, will remain the same. But in the build phase, what will happen? The extra dependencies which you have added in your whole certain application will be removed, or we can say a compiled version of it will be built in the build phase. Okay, so that is your build phases. Then comes the fourth phase, which is test phase. Okay, now what happens under test phase? Your application code is generally tested under multiple environments, or we can say under multiple spaces. Like there are multiple environments, like pre-prod environment, then prod environment, development environment, testing environment. There are multiple types of environments in which your application is deployed, in which your application is running continuously. Okay, so what does happen in test phase? So in your test phase, your application code is generally tested in different environments, like development environment, testing environment. There are different types of environments. Once the application code is tested and all the test cases are passed and successful, then what happens? Then comes the sixth phase, which is the release phase. Sixth or fifth phase, which is the release phase, in which your application is released for the deployment. Okay, released in the sense, like I mentioned, there are multiple environments or spaces in which your application is running. Okay, so whatever the application which the user is using, or whatever the application where the client is able to access it, that application is basically running in your prod environment. Okay, prod in the sense the production environment. Okay, uh, if you want, or if anyone is having some certain sort of confusion, like what are the different kinds of environments and all, you can ask it. Okay, or you can keep making a running notes of it, because the types of environments like which I'm mentioning, prod, pre-prod, development, testing, these are the environments in which your applications are generally present, or we can say these are the strategies for which the deployments are basically used for deploying the application. Okay, you can say these are the deployment strategies in short, in which your application is tested and deployed. Okay, so in the release phase, your application is released for deploying it into the production environment. Okay, from the testing environment or the development environment. Then comes your seventh phase, which is deploy. Okay, now, what do we do in the deploy phase? So in the deploy phase, we actually deploy our application in our main environments, like production environments or other certain environment, where whatever the application which is deployed in that main environment, that application is accessible to the outside world, to the outside internet. Okay. Then comes your second last phase, which is operate. Okay. Now, what do you do by operate phase? So by the operate phase, you mainly handle the configurations of your infrastructure. Now, what is configuration of your infrastructure? So for an example, let's say in your infrastructure you are having 10 virtual machines or 10 servers. Okay. And what you want to do is you want to handle that 10 servers at a point of time or through a single medium. Okay. For an example, you want to install any tool on that whole 10 servers. So what you want to do is you want to instruct something, and that same instructions should be passed on each and every server at a single time. So this generally comes under the operations, or we can say through operate phase, where what you are doing is you are handling your whole infrastructure through a single medium. Okay. Instead of handling and managing a single machine, you are using a platform or any certain tool by which you can manage your multiple virtual machines, or we can say multiple servers infrastructure at a single time or from a single platform. Okay. So that generally comes under the operate. And there is a last phase named monitor. Okay. You can see in that whole infinite loop, there is a last phase named monitor. So what we do in the monitor? So in the monitor or in the monitoring phase, we monitor our whole infrastructure and the deployments which we are doing. Okay. Whether the deployments are successful or not, whether the deployments which we have done in our infrastructure is running properly or not, is running as expected or not, whether the infrastructure is good or not, like if the infrastructure is in healthy state or not. There are many scenarios. Okay. So this is basically done in your monitoring phase, where you are continuously monitoring your whole infrastructure as well as the deployments, or we can say the applications which is running in that infrastructure. Okay. So before going further, everyone, Amruta, Sayan, and the other gentlemen who are present in this meeting, tell me that is this whole cycle, or we can say the loop, is clear to all of you, so that we can proceed further.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So what generally happens if you closely observe this whole loop, or we can see the life cycle? What is happening here? So there are multiple teams, or we can say the multiple developers which are engaged or which are participating in this whole loop. Okay. Like in the plan phase, there will be someone to create a plan. In the code phase, there will be some team members, or we can say the software engineers, who will be responsible for developing a software code. Then in the build phase, there will be some another one who will be building the application. In the test phase, there will be some testers who will be testing the application code in different environments. In release phase, again there will be some end individuals. In deployment, there will be some cloud related teams who will manage the whole deployment part. Then in the operate, again cloud teams and other engineers who will operate your whole infrastructure. Then in the monitoring phase, there will be some another individuals. Okay. Now what is happening here is, so for each phase there is a different kind of team, or we can say a different sort of individuals. Okay. And what is the main limitation here? So each phase which is involved in the software development life cycle, okay, is completed manually. Okay. This is the main limitation, or we can say disadvantage here. Okay. And why you are having this disadvantage? Because each phase, okay, like code, build, test, monitor, anything, each phase is handled by separate engineers, or we can say separate teams. Okay. So that is the main reason the whole life cycle, like your software development life cycle, is completed manually. Okay. So try to understand the limitations and the disadvantages. From the problem statements, or we can say the limitations, we can easily understand what the Jenkins tool do here, or how does the Jenkins fit here. Okay. So what is the limitation and the disadvantages? That for each phase there is a separate developer, or we can say a separate team. Okay. Which is leading to manual completing of that whole phase. Like each phase in this whole life cycle is completed manually. planning is done manually, coding is done manually, and the building, testing, whole phases are completed manually. Okay, like for an example, if you have a plan to develop a software application which is having three features, so what you will do is, you will pass that plan to your development team. Then development team will create a software code for that application which is having three features. Then development team will manually hand over the software code to the building team, or we can say for the building. So here what will happen, you are manually giving that software code to the another team for building it. So they will compile that whole source code manually. Again, it is done manually. Okay, so again they will pass the compiled source code to the testing team in the testing phase. So testing team will take that source code manually again, and they will complete the testing phase, or we can say execute the test cases manually. So it is again done manually. Again, the code which has been tested by your testers and all, that whole source code will be passed to your deployment team again manually. Deployment team will again run or deploy your software code inside the server again manually. Then operate team or the operations team will handle your IT infrastructure in a kind of manual way only. Okay, and then again the monitoring is also done manually. So what is happening here, in this whole loop and in this whole life cycle, your each phase is completed manually. And if each phase is completed manually, then definitely it will be time taken. Like for an example, if you are having a plan today and you want to build or execute that plan, okay, like a software application with three features, and if you start to execute this plan today, and each and every phases is going to be completed manual way only, so it will take months to complete that whole software project. Okay, and whatever the requirements which will be collected after that, it will go for long and long, like the requirements will not stop. For an example, if I am having a client today, uh, who is needing three features in the application, after some months, like after 6 months, 8 months, after a year, the requirements can change. Like the client can say me, or they will instruct me that these are the three features, these are good, but I also need two more features. So again, for that two more features, again you will need to create a plan, again you will need to code for that two features, again build, test, release, deployment. So this whole loop continues. That's why it is having an infinite loop. Okay, where this loop, or we can say the phases, are never completed. Okay, so that is the part here. So what is the main limitation, or we can say the disadvantages in this whole software development lifecycle, or in this whole phases, that each phase is completed manually. And when the phases are completed manually, there are some limitations, or we can say some problems which are faced by the companies. What are those problems? So first of all, since the phases are done manually, so it is time taken. So it is taking more time to complete your whole phases, or to complete or deliver your project. Okay, the projects are not done within the deadline. The second limitation or the disadvantage is, so since the phases are done manually, there is a human intervention in it. And if there are more human interventions, or we can say a more human in the loop, so what will happen? There are higher chances of getting the human errors at the end. Okay, because again, in each phase there are separate individuals. Okay, where that individuals or that developer is not been included in the another phases. Okay, so he or she is not known that what are the other phases, or we can say in the another phases what kind of work is done on the code which they have developed. Okay, so they are not known with it. So there are also higher chances of some miscommunications and all. Okay, okay, so that is the part. So it is more time taken, and if there are more human intervention, if there are more human in the loop, so there are higher chances of getting the human errors. Okay, and the deadlines are not matched, the deadlines are exceeding because of the time taken part only. Okay, so what you need to do is, you need to automate this whole phases in such a way so that the human in the loop, the amount, or we can say the percentage of the human in the loop gets reduces. Okay, and the time taken for completing the these phases will be less. okay, as compared to your manual way. Okay, so what is the main problem statement here? That whole these phases are completed manually, and you need a tool, or we can say a platform, through which what you can do is you can automate this whole phases, like the coding not specifically. Okay, after the coding, like building, testing, release, deployment, this whole phases needs to be done automated. Okay, because for coding you will need the software engineers, or we can say a human. Okay, now there are some different scenarios like the AI and all, but if you see traditionally, okay, so traditionally what will happen in a software company or in an IT company, for developing a source code, the software engineers will be present. Okay, so software engineers will manually build, or we can just say create that code, they will write that code. Okay, but after the code or development phase, the build, test, release, deploy, operate, monitor, each of the phases should be automated. Okay, so that it will be less time taken. Okay, and again, there are no more human interventions. Okay, as compared to previous, so there will be a lesser chance of getting the human errors. Okay, clear? So tell me, everyone, is this clear to all of you? The
Yeah, yeah,
problem statement and the certain things which we are going to learn. Amruta, Sayan.
yeah, yeah. Okay.
Okay, is this clear?
Yeah,
So we can
Yeah,
move
yes,
further.
yes.
Okay, sure. So what we need is we need a tool, or we can say a platform, through which what we can do is we can automate the whole phases from the building the code to the monitoring of that certain code, or we can say the IT infrastructure, so that it will be less time taken. The human in the loop, or we can say the human intervention in this whole phase will be less, so there will be a lesser chances of getting the human errors. Okay, so for that there is a tool named Jenkins. Okay, so for this whole kind of the setup which I told you now, for this whole kind of setup, the Jenkins tool is mainly used, or we can say that Jenkins platform is mainly used. Okay, so if you see a definition of the Jenkins, or we can say some information about it, so Jenkins is basically a CI/CD platform. Okay, a continuous integration and continuous delivery or deployment platform, where what you can do is you can automate your whole phases, which generally comes under your software development lifecycle. After the development phase, like from building the code to monitoring the code. Okay, clear?
Yes. Sayan, I was asking, आपके सिस्टम पे आज करेंगे क्या? Like you will be practicing also आपके like in your AWS account.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Preetham, like you can guide Sayan actually. Actually, I'm reviewing some series. So
Okay, okay,
मैं
sure, sir.
screen switch करने में थोड़ा issue हो रहा है.
Yeah, sure, sir. Uh, okay, Shayan, can you share your screen, Shayan?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
See, here, I'm thinking, right, कि हम क्या करेंगे? What we will be doing, right? एक दिन one day we will try with projector screen, right? Some of the tasks we will try with like some, so that you will be also learning. This is my approach. You can tell me, like is it fine with everybody, or आप लोग ज़्यादा सीखोगे? You will learn lot of things if you will do. Devita, Amruta, Prajakta.
Yes,
Okay, great.
yes, sir.
Just like let me know, like from the next classes. Uh, just let me know who will be ready so that we can start. ठीक है?
Okay, sure. So this is what about the Jenkins whole is. Okay, so now we will do a practical implementation of it. Okay, so for setting up the Jenkins platform, we will need two virtual machines or two machines. Okay, so we will need to create two EC2 instances. So Sayan, create two EC2 instances in your AWS platform.
And one
Yes,
thing,
sir.
Preetham, what you can do, na? on which basis you are deciding, ठीक है, कि कौन सा इंस्टेंस लॉन्च करना है, राइट, ऑन विच बेसिस. तो just
Yeah.
tell them these things also, like how do
Mm.
you know that whether you need to launch a T2 micro or
Yeah,
T2
the
medium,
instance
right?
type. Yeah.
Yesterday आपने मेरे साथ भी करा था, so just tell them कि
Mm.
why you are launching this, right?
Yeah.
Why
Sure.
we
Sure.
cannot launch T2 Nano also, so that
Mm.
they can understand that on what
Mm.
basis you are deciding. ठीक है? Yes.
Yeah. Sure, sir. Okay. So give a name to your instance. Okay. Sure. Scroll down. Select an AMI image. Ubuntu. Select Ubuntu image because we are going to set up the Jenkins server or that certain platform on an Ubuntu machine. Okay. So we are going to use the Ubuntu machine here. And scroll down. Yeah. Here is the instance type. Okay. So what is the instance type? So instance type is a specific specifications which tells you that how much amount of computing capacity you can use. Okay. So you can see here there is an instance type named T3.micro. Okay. So T3.micro is having two virtual CPUs. Okay. So it is having two virtual CPUs core and 1 GB of memory. Okay. Now 1 GB of memory in the sense 1 GB of RAM. So whenever we create any operating system or whenever we have any operating system, it generally consists of a RAM and a storage. Okay. So based on the instance type, it generally depends that how many amount of RAM you can provide or how much amount of RAM you need or you can get. Okay. To your
Okay.
machine, the virtual machine which you are creating. Okay. So click on that instance type. Sayan, click there. Yeah. So there are multiple instance types here. Okay. So you need to select your instance type wisely because each instance type is having a separate billing. Okay, you can see the billing has been mentioned there for the Linux and many more. Okay, so whenever you will select a higher instance type which will having an higher amount of RAM into it or a higher amount of virtual CPUs into it, so you will be charged more. Okay,
Okay.
so what we need to do is, so you need to select your instance type based on the computing capacity, or we can say the tools which you are going to set up inside that machine. Okay. So what we are doing is we are creating an EC2 instance for our Jenkins platform. So if you want to run the Jenkins platform, or we can say tool on a machine, so that machine should have a minimum RAM of 4 GB. Okay, not less than that. If you have a RAM of less than 4 GB in that machine, so you will have a bad user experience because whenever you will try to set up your Jenkins, then it will be some slowy part, or we can say it will do some lags and all. Okay, so you will have some bad experience, okay, user experience while handling the Jenkins. Okay, it will buffer a lot because the instance is not having that computing capacity to handle that platform. Okay, so we need to select an instance type which is having a RAM, or we can say memory of 4 GB. So if you scroll down, yeah, so you can see here C7i Flex Large. Okay, so this is an instance type which is having two virtual CPU and four
Pritam,
gigabytes of memory.
sorry to interrupt. How do you know that it need 4 GB of memory? उनको ऐसे दिखाओ, like just show them. Like you know, right? That
Yeah,
4 GB चाहिए होता है. So how they will be knowing?
yeah,
Just show
sure.
them कि from
Yeah,
where you are
so
picking these values. जैसे PUBG खेलने के लिए, right? If you want to play PUBG
hmm,
or some, you need at least 8 GB of RAM, right? If you want to play GTA 5, whether you, I don't know whether you have played games or not. So
yeah, yeah,
there are minimum configurations that you need to do. So how
yeah,
you know the configurations in their website? So from their website you can go and check कर लो कि like what is the minimum configurations that you need. That is it.
yeah,
Continue.
sure. Yeah. So, like you mentioned, the minimum configuration of each and every platform which is needed for running that certain respective tools and platform has been mentioned or defined in the respective documentations. Okay, so whenever we will set up the Jenkins or open the Jenkins documentation, in the documentations, each and every specifications are mentioned, which is needed for running the respective platform. Okay, so we'll see this also. Okay, so scroll down, then keep a create a key pair, or even if you don't create a key pair, it's fine because we don't need a key pair. Actually, we need a key pair, but we are going to create a key pair in any other different way. So tell me one thing, the key pair which you have selected, cyan key and all,
Yeah.
are you having a public key of it in your console or in your system?
Yes.
Not public key, sorry, private key. Okay, sure, no worry. So scroll down, select the existing security group, or if you want to create a new security group, you can. Are you having an existing one? Select any launch wizard one or two. Yep, scroll down. So you can see the storage. So it is of 8 gigabyte, like the minimum storage for your Linux instance in the AWS should be minimum 8 gigabyte. Okay. And the 8 gigabyte of storage is sufficient for your Jenkins platform or running your Jenkins server. Okay. So now
Yeah.
launch an instance.
Number of instances is one or two.
Yeah, number of instances two. Yeah, launch an instance. Okay. Yeah. So you are having two instances. Okay. Now the reason we have created two instances is because what does the Jenkins do is, so in your yesterday's lecture we have seen the architecture of the Kubernetes. Okay, so in the architecture of Kubernetes there are two nodes. One is your control node and another one is your worker node. Okay, similarly Jenkins also uses a master agent architecture. Okay, where there is a master node in Jenkins and an agent node in Jenkins. Okay, we will see this how to set up the master agent configuration. Okay, but that is the actual reason behind why we have created two virtual machines. Okay, so out of these two virtual machines, one will be a master
Can you
machine
again
and
repeat
second.
this? What are
Okay,
those?
master and agent machines.
Okay.
A master virtual machine and an agent machine. So what does the Jenkins do is,
Guys, note it
so
down, please. Everybody,
yeah,
note it down. Whatever
yeah,
Pritham is saying,
yeah.
it will help you really.
Hmm.
And प्रीतम आप जो भी बता रहे हो जो थोड़ा important है just ask them to make a note of it that you feel
Yeah,
कि, okay, these questions will be maybe coming. That's
yeah,
it.
sure. So, what does the Jenkins do it? So, every tool is having their own architecture. Like we are having Docker architecture, we are also having a Kubernetes architecture. Similarly, Jenkins is also have its own architecture. Okay, and that architecture is known as a master agent architecture. Okay, where in the Jenkins architecture there is a master node, a master machine. Okay, and there is an agent machine. Okay, so on each machine, there are separate configurations which you need to set up. Okay, and we will see it now that what are the configurations, or we can see the components which are present on the respective machine, like the master and agent machine. Okay, is it clear to all of you, Sayan,
Yeah.
Amruta? Okay, okay, sure. So now do one thing. Open the terminal of both of the instances.
In my laptop or like,
Yeah. Open the terminal, like select that instance, click on connect.
Okay.
Scroll down. At your yeah, there only. Click on connect. Okay, San. Can you do one thing? Can you rename the instance name? Okay, like both the instances are having the same name, Jenkins Server 1 and Jenkins Server 2. Do one thing. The first instance which you have selected, rename that instance to Jenkins Master or a Master, and the another one Jenkins Agent. So it will be easy for us to filter out which is the master and which is the agent.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So this is the terminal of your Jenkins master, right? Can you
Yeah.
refresh this tab once? Yeah. So this is the terminal of your Jenkins master, and the next tab to it, it is the terminal of your Jenkins agent.
Agent.
Okay, sure. So first of all, what we need to do is uh, you can mark down the steps or note down the steps which we are going to do to set up a Jenkins master agent architecture. Okay, to configure the Jenkins master agent architecture, because these questions are generally asked in the interviews, that how can you set up a master agent configuration for the Jenkins? Okay, or give me the steps or list the steps which are needed or which are performed to set up the master agent configuration. So you can note down the steps. Okay, so
Okay.
first of all, we need to launch two machines. Then secondly, now what we are going to do is we are going to install the Jenkins platform on a machine. Okay. So for that, open a new tab. Can you open a new tab? Yeah. And can you search for Jenkins installation on Ubuntu, EC2 or Ubuntu? Scroll down, scroll down. We need to use the official, scroll down more. Can you see that above hyperlink? Yeah, this one, installing Jenkins. Because we need to use the official documentation of the Jenkins for it. Yeah. So you can install the Jenkins in multiple operating systems like Linux. You can also install it in Mac, then Windows, and you can also set up the Jenkins to your Docker. We are going to install the Jenkins in Linux operating system. Okay. So yeah, click on Linux. Okay. And we are using Debian Ubuntu. Yeah, you can see the prerequisites here. 4 GB of RAM and 50 GB of drive space. Okay. Now 50 GB of drive space is much more, or we can say it is not required to use the 50 GB of drive space for your Jenkins. Okay. But if you are using the Jenkins at its full potential, like you are having multiple cycles inside it, you are having multiple pipelines inside it, then you will need the 50 GB of RAM. But if you are using the Jenkins for one or two pipelines or for one or two cycle, then you don't need 50 GB of RAM. It's completely fine with 8 to 15 GB of RAM. Okay.
Okay.
So click on the first option, Debian Ubuntu, because we are using the Debian distribution. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So you can see a installation of Java. Okay. So what generally happens whenever we want to set up a Jenkins platform, we need to install the Java first. Okay. Now why Java? Because Java is considered as a runtime for your Jenkins. Okay. The whole Jenkins software, or we can say that certain platform, is basically built in Java. Okay. So you need to set up the Java as a runtime for deploying your Jenkins platform or certain uh, server inside your EC2 machine. Okay, clear? So first of all, copy this command apt update. Yeah, copy this. Okay, now go on your Jenkins master. This is your Jenkins master. Okay, now one more thing. We are having two instances. One is Jenkins master and Jenkins agent. Now what we need to do is we need to install the Jenkins platform on our Jenkins master. Okay, not on the Jenkins agent, because master is the actual machine, or we can say that node where your Jenkins platform is present, or your where your Jenkins is running, like your Kubernetes. Okay, Kubernetes master node, or we can say the control plane, is the actual node, or we can say the space where your Kubernetes cluster, or we can say the main components are present. Okay, and your Kubernetes pod are generally running on your worker node. Similarly, in your Jenkins architecture on master, we are going to install our Jenkins software, because master is the specific node where the Jenkins should need to be installed, or it should be present. Okay, so on Jenkins master, we need to execute this command. So execute that command here, sudo apt get update. What happened, Sayan?
Sad actually. You can't place anything.
Yeah, hit enter. Then copy the second command. Sudo apt install font config open GDK. Yeah, copy that. Paste it here. Enter. Wait. Go to your, yeah, give a confirmation. Yeah. Now go to your documentation again. Yeah. So this command will install the JDK, which generally stands for Java Development Kit, in your machine. Okay. And you can copy the third command, Java hyphen version, which generally prints the Java version which you are having in your machine.
We have Java developer also. Devita,
Oh, we are having.
yes,
Okay, cool.
Java
So
developer. Yes.
Devika will be
We have
knowing with this whole stuff.
Android developer. Yes. We have Android developer also, Java developer also. Right, Shan?
Yeah.
Okay, good, good. So Devita can relate to it easily, the
Yes.
JDK part and all.
Yes. 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 Right, Devita?
Right. Yes, yes.
I will ask you to build one project for us. Okay, so in Java.
Sure.
Okay, sure. So now the Java is installed. Now we need to install the Jenkins. Okay. So you can see here, for installing the Jenkins, there are two options. First, we are having a LTS, which is long term support, and we are a second having a weekly release. Okay. Now, what's the difference between it? So, if you want a stable version of Jenkins, okay, where the updates are not frequent, so what you can do is you can use the LTS version. But if you want a Jenkins where there are frequent updates, daily updates or weekly updates in that certain tool, then you can use the weekly release. Okay. But the LTS, which is long term support release, is mostly preferred for your Jenkins. The reason is because if you use a weekly release Jenkins, so what will happen? Weekly, or we can say out of the 4 to 5 days, you will get a frequent update, and then again you will need to update your Jenkins system. So if you are using a Jenkins for a long time, like for 7 months, 8 months till your project, so you will need to update your Jenkins system for more times, for many times. Okay. Which is time taken also, and which is doing, or which is doing less your productivity and all. Okay. So these questions are mainly asked in the interviews also, like which Jenkins release is mostly preferred, long term support release or weekly release, and what is the difference between both of this. Okay, so is this clear? to all of you. Yeah. So install the long-term support rules. Copy the command from sudo wget to the dev null till the fifth line. Fifth line. Oh no no, till the fifth line. Yeah. Copy. Paste it here. Yeah. Enter. Okay. Cool. Now go to your documentation. Copy the next command. This command will again update your system, your Jenkins master. Okay, good. Now copy the last command, which is sudo apt install Jenkins. Now this command will install your official Jenkins package, apt package in your system. Okay. Okay. So have you executed that command?
Yeah.
So your Jenkins software, or we can say the platform, is now installed in your Jenkins master. Now, how to verify or how to check that whether Jenkins is present or not? So, what generally happens whenever you install any, just hold for a minute, just hold for a minute.
Okay.
Hello.
Yeah.
So, I was saying that whenever you install any certain tool or any platform in your system, so each tool is having its own service in the Linux operating system. Okay, for an example, if you install an ABC tool in your Linux, so what will happen? ABC tool will have a unique service of it, which will be running in your Linux operating system. Okay, so what you can do is, if you want to start and stop your ABC tool, so what you can do is you can manage that service, and through that service you can start and stop your certain ABC tool. Okay, so similarly, we have installed the Jenkins here. So Jenkins will also have its own service. Okay. So through that service, we can check that whether the Jenkins tool is active or not. Okay. For that, there is a command named sudo, and that command sudo space systemctl, which is system controller space status space Jenkins. Jenkins, GAN. Yeah, GEN. So sudo systemctl state Jenkins. So you are instructing systemctl to show the status of your Jenkins tool, whether it is active or not. Can we hit enter? So you can see here, your Jenkins service is active. You can see there. There is a green highlighting of your words active, and it is in the running state. Okay. So this confirms that our Jenkins server is in the running state. Okay. Clear till now to all of you, Prajakta, Amruta, everyone.
Yes.
Okay. So our Jenkins is now running. Okay, so scroll down, press Q on your keyboard. Okay, okay, sure. So clear the terminal now. Now, what we need to do is we need to access the Jenkins platform. Okay, like what was happening is whatever the tools which you have learned earlier, like Docker or Kubernetes. So these tools were mainly a CLI based tool. Okay, CLI based in the sense whenever you want to manage that certain tool, or we can say that certain platform, they are having their own CLI, the command line interface through which you can manage your tool. Like for managing the Docker tool, you are having a Docker CLI. For managing your Kubernetes cluster, you are having an kubectl CLI. Okay, which is command line interface. So each platform is having their own command line interface. Okay, but Jenkins is not a command line based platform. Okay, basically Jenkins provide an GUI, which is graphical user interface based certain UI, or we can say the platform. Okay, so Jenkins mainly supports the graphical user interface instead of the CLI. Okay, so you can completely manage your Jenkins platform, or we can say the whole tool through your user interface. Okay, from your user interface instead of using the command line interface. Okay, clear?
Okay.
So, so
Yeah.
what we need to do is we need to access the Jenkins graphical user interface. Okay. Now, how to access the Jenkins graphical user interface? For that, what will you will need to do is, so whenever you install the Jenkins, so Jenkins gets installed on your certain instance, or we can say on your machine. Okay. And what generally happens, you can access your Jenkins application, or we can say this certain graphical user interface on it from your instance IP. Okay. So go on your console, AWS console, select your Jenkins master. Yeah. And you can see there that Jenkins master, that specific instance is having a public IP address. To copy that public IP address and open it in a new tab. Yeah. Don't hit enter. Give a port number there. Give a colon and give a port number 8080. Okay. So what generally happens whenever you set up your Jenkins in a certain machine, or we can say on a certain server, so Jenkins generally gets exposed on the port number 8080 of that host server, or we can say of that host machine. So you can say that on your host machine, or we can say on your EC2 instance or machines port number 8080, your Jenkins server is running, or your Jenkins service is running. Okay, so hit enter. Okay, okay, sure. Now this whole user interface is correct, and we have got the correct output. But I will like to ask a question to all of you. Okay, so I think your AWS part is covered, right? The EC2 instances, security groups, and VPC, and all those part. I think so. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, okay, sure. So tell me one thing. Uh, we have opened an instance of IP on a certain port number, which is 8080. Okay. So what is the role of the security group here? Okay. Can anyone explain me what is the role of security group here on this certain scenario, or on this certain whole thing?
We need to declare
Anyone?
like a custom TCP 8080 in inbound security.
Yeah. So what we have done is we have opened an inbound rule. Okay. But specifically, I think Sayan, you have opened the all traffic inbound rule in your instance or in your security group. Check it once. Check the security group of that Jenkins master. AT80. Okay, so have you already opened the port number 8080?
While getting the instance, I selected the security group from the drop down.
Okay,
So
okay.
these are
Like,
automatically generated.
uh, okay. Like what I thought that that you have already created a security group which was having an inbound rule of 80/80. Or what was in my mind that you have enabled an inbound rule which is uh, exposing all the traffic to your instance and all. So what generally happens, your Jenkins is running on port number 80/80. So to access your Jenkins platform, you need to open the port number 80/80 in your inbound rule so that the security group can accept your traffic and redirect your traffic to your instance. Okay, that was the point here. And that rule is already opened up in your security group. Okay. Okay, so cancel this or save the rules. So it's correct. Good. Click on cancel. Okay. Now go to your Jenkins UI, that tab. Okay. So this is your Jenkins UI, and that UI, or we can say that certain platform is running on port number 80/80. Okay. So you can see here the page unlock Jenkins. Okay. So what is here? So Jenkins is by default locked, and you have to unlock that Jenkins. Okay. So whenever you install the Jenkins platform, by default the Jenkins platform is locked. And whenever you are doing a fresh sign in into it, so you need to unlock your Jenkins. And for unlocking your Jenkins, there will be a password. Okay. So that password is generally stored or kept at that path. You can say that red line /var/lib/Jenkins. Copy that path, go to your instance Jenkins master, run a command cat space, copy, sorry, paste that path, not copy, paste that
So,
cat, again, paste that path here, enter. Okay, so you can see here you have got another permission denied. Uh, can anyone tell what is the issue here? Anyone? Amruta,
Does not
Prajakta.
have permission to read and access that particular file.
Yeah. So wait, Chan, wait, Chan. Press Control C. Okay, so what is the issue? That the Ubuntu user, your normal user, is not having the permission of accessing the file which you are uh, doing a cat onto it, okay, or which you are trying to read. Okay, so because that file is generally placed on a path where that path is basically of a root user. So what you need to do is you will need to add sudo in your command. So type sudo space cat and then again give your path. Enter. Now this is your password. Okay, what does the sudo do here? So sudo provides the root user permissions to that certain command, to that specific command which you are running. Okay, so copy that password and go to your Jenkins UI and paste that administrator password here. Okay, now click on continue. Okay, so you can see a step here where it is asking to install the certain Jenkins plugin. Okay, now what a Jenkins plugin? So in short, Jenkins plugin is a certain feature which is provided by Jenkins. By using the Jenkins plugin, what you can do is you can enhance your Jenkins performance, or we can say enhance your Jenkins features. Okay, like for an example, if you want to integrate your Docker into your Jenkins, if you want to integrate your AWS into Jenkins, if you want to integrate any external tools in your Jenkins, so for each tool, resources, and platforms, Jenkins is having their own set of plugins. Okay, by using that plugin, you can easily integrate or use their certain resources. Okay, so in short, we can say that Jenkins is a feature by which what you can do is you can enhance the uh, Jenkins platform, or you can use it in a better way for the integration and all. Okay. So these are the plugins. So click on install suggested plugins. So what the Jenkins will do is it will install the necessary or the basic required plugins which is needed for running your Jenkins. Okay. So these are the necessary plugins or the default plugins which are needed for running your Jenkins. Okay.
This is a Jenkins GUI, right?
Yeah. This is the graphical user interface of your Jenkins. We
Okay.
can say that website type. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Where your website, or we can say the Jenkins UI, is running inside your virtual machine, and you are accessing that UI on your certain IP and port number from an endpoint.
That
Okay.
8080 port number is specific to Jenkins only.
Yeah, it is specifically for the Jenkins. So, all of you guys, are you getting the point now? Prajakta, Amruta, Sayan, what we are doing exactly, and the
Yes.
whole stuff. Okay. Is there anything which is not clear to any one of you? Any doubt or any sort of confusion in any step?
No.
It will take more 30 seconds to set up the whole Jenkins. Okay, so this is your Jenkins UI, and you are at a step to create an user. Okay, so Jenkins is having a feature like login and sign in and sign out. Okay, so
Okay.
whenever you will create a Jenkins, or whenever you will try to use a Jenkins, you will need to do a login by a user. Okay, so first of all, you will need to create a user here. So give a username, password, and then confirm that password below, and then the full name. Now save and finish. Now your Jenkins is ready. Start using your Jenkins. So this is your Jenkins home. This is the home page of your Jenkins. Okay. Let me explain this home page, then we will proceed further. Okay.
Okay.
So this is the home page of your Jenkins. If you see on your top right hand side corner, there on your top right hand side corner of the UI, so there is an user account. You can see there. Can you move your cursor, Sayan, on the top right hand side? Right hand side. Yeah, there. So that is the user by which you have logged in into your Jenkins, Sayan, the theme of the user, and account related information, appearance, security of the user, and many more. And if you scroll down more, so scroll down a bit, you are having an option of sign out. So you can also sign out that user and log in by any another user. Okay.
Okay.
Then next to that, there is an option of settings. You can see that symbol there. No, no. Next to that. No, 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 no. Not there. Yeah. Manage Jenkins. From there, you can manage your whole Jenkins. Okay. Then if you want to search anything in your Jenkins, then there is a search option there or a search bar there. Okay. Now, if you go on your top left hand side, so there is the logo of the Jenkins and name of it. So click there. So you will be back to your Jenkins home. Yeah. So that is the logo and name. Okay. Then below you can see an option of new item. Now, what is a new item? So basically in Jenkins, what we do is we create a pipelines. Now, what is a pipeline? So like we discussed half an hour earlier, that what we need to do is we need to automate that whole steps, or we can say the phases from building, then testing, then releasing,
Deploy.
deploying, operations and monitor. Okay, so we need to automate these whole steps. Okay, and how we are going to do this? By using a Jenkins pipeline. Now, what is a Jenkins pipeline? So Jenkins pipeline is basically a file, or we can say a Jenkins pipeline is basically a whole structure in which what you can do is you can define the certain steps, or we can say the phases which you need to automate. Okay, and the Jenkins pipeline will execute or automate that whole phases on behalf of you. Okay, so is this clear what is a Jenkins pipeline is? All of you.
Yes.
So if you go more deep dive into it, so there are multiple definitions, or we can say the concept of a Jenkins pipeline. Okay. What I'm doing is I'm keeping the thing simple so it will be more clear to all of you. Okay. So a Jenkins pipeline is basically a simple form of a set of instructions, okay, in which you have clearly defined that what are the certain phases, like your build, test, deployment, monitor, all the phases which you need to automate. Okay, so you define all that phases in your Jenkins pipeline which you need to automate, and once you run your pipeline, so that pipeline will execute the certain stages like build, test, operate, monitor, everything on behalf of you. Okay, so in that new item, we actually create a pipeline. So if you want to create a pipeline or any other Jenkins jobs, we generally create a new item. So that is the new item is for. Then build history. Okay. So that is your Jenkins welcome page, or we can say the home page. Okay. Now what we need to do is, Sayan, can you go back to your Jenkins master terminal? So this is your Jenkins master, on which your Jenkins platform, or we can say the tool is present. Okay. Now what you need to do is we are also having a Jenkins agent. Now what we need to do is same like Kubernetes master, and we can say the worker node architecture, where we connect a worker node to your master and all. Similarly, what we need to do here is we are having a Jenkins master and an agent, and on the master we have deployed the Jenkins platform or the software. Now what we need to do is we are also having a Jenkins agent. We need to connect or attach the Jenkins agent to our Jenkins master. Okay, so first of all, let me tell you that what is the use case or need of the Jenkins agent here. So like we mentioned, or we have seen the pipeline. Now what does a pipeline is? So pipeline is having multiple stages like build, test, deploy, operate, monitor. Okay, where these stages will get executed on a certain machine, on a certain server, and that machine, that server will be nothing but your Jenkins agent. Okay, so what you are doing is you are actually implementing, or you are actually executing your Jenkins pipeline on your Jenkins agent. For that, generally the agents are built. Okay, and on your Jenkins master, you have set it up your Jenkins platform, or we can say the Jenkins tool. So simplifying the things, or to keep the things simple, what you are doing is you are having a Jenkins master and you are having a Jenkins agent. On your Jenkins master, you have installed the Jenkins, and from the Jenkins master, you will create a pipeline. Okay, but when you run that pipeline will get run, or that pipeline will get executed on your Jenkins agent, like Kubernetes master and worker node. From your master node, you create a pod, but that pod actually gets scheduled or get run on your worker node. Similarly here, from master, you will create a pipeline, but that pipeline will get executed on your Jenkins agent. Clear?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it clear to everyone? Prajakta, Amruta?
So we need to connect the master node to agent, or like agent to master.
No, we need to connect agent to a master node. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. Sure. So,
One question actually, Preetham. So, can we correct as any of the two node you can say in Jenkins? दो कर सकते हैं क्या?
like you are talking about the agent, right?
Yes, yes. Like we can add two agents or
Yeah, sure. So, yeah,
okay,
we can definitely do it. So, you can add multiple Jenkins agent as well.
okay, okay, got it.
Yeah. So, for an example, if you are having agent one and agent two, and if you want to execute your pipeline on agent one, so you can also do it. And if you want to execute your pipeline on both of the agents, like agent one and two, so it is also possible. Okay.
Okay, okay. Thank you, thank you.
Everyone can mark it down because this question is also asked. Okay, like can a Jenkins can have multiple agents, and let's say if you have a pipeline, so same pipeline can be executed on the multiple agents at a single time or not. So these questions are generally asked. Okay. So now what we need to do is we need to connect our Jenkins agent to a master.
Preetham, same
Yeah.
question you have to ask in next Saturday class. जो आपने अभी
Right.
बताया,
Sure.
same
Yeah.
question आप पूछना कि like what will be the answer. ठीक है, so that
Yeah.
they can prepare.
Yeah.
Tomorrow,
Sure.
like sorry, next week will be mock.
Okay. Okay.
So everybody
Definitely.
say आप prepare कर लेना, like everyone. Like
Yeah.
Preetham will be asking the questions. ठीक है, you have to answer. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah. Sure. So now we need to connect our Jenkins agent to a master. So for that, what we will need to do is, uh, if you go on your Jenkins agent, can you open your Jenkins agent terminal? Okay, so this is your Jenkins agent. Now what we need to do is we need to connect this Jenkins agent to your master, to your Jenkins master or to your Jenkins platform. Okay, so what we can do is, or what is the actual concept here? So we need to connect our Jenkins agent to our master in such a way that our Jenkins master should have the necessary permissions, or we can say the necessary credentials, required credentials to use your Jenkins agent. Okay. Why the Jenkins master needs to use a Jenkins agent? Because whenever we will run the pipeline from the Jenkins master, the pipeline will get executed on your agent. So your Jenkins master will execute that pipeline on your agent. And for executing your pipeline on that agent, Jenkins master will need the access of it. Okay, the access, or we can say the credentials of using your agent. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to provide the credentials of the Jenkins agent. Okay, uh, which will needed or which will be used by your master. Okay, and by giving that credentials only, we will connect our Jenkins agent to a master. Okay, now which type of credentials? So all of you guys, are you knowing with the SSH credentials? I think you have seen this in the AWS lectures also. Hello.
Yeah.
You are audible.
Yeah. So all of you guys, Amruta, Prajakta, Sayan, are you guys knowing with the SSH credentials, which generally stands for Secure Shell?
Yeah.
So what we are going to do here is we are going to provide the SSH credentials for your Jenkins agent. Okay. So we are going to provide the SSH credentials of our Jenkins agent to our master. So Jenkins master will use the SSH credentials of the agent for connecting to it. Okay. So
Okay.
inside the SSH credentials, we will need to provide the public IP address of our agent. We will need to provide the username of our agent and the private key of it. Okay. So while launching the EC2 instances, we have attached an key pair to it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what we need to do is whatever the private key file which you will be having in your whole system, or we can say in your whole uh, system and all. So we will need to provide that private key file there. Check it once you are having that private key file, as you said you are having it.
Yes, this one.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. Good. Okay. Now minimize your file explorer. Okay. Now do one thing. Okay. Now do one thing. Go to your Jenkins UI. Okay. Now what we need to do is this is your Jenkins UI, which is running on your master. Okay. So we are going to create the pipeline from here, and also we need to connect our Jenkins agent from here as well. Okay. So how to connect your Jenkins agent or how to add your Jenkins agent? So you can note down the steps which we are going to perform now to adding our Jenkins agent in our master. Okay. So on your top right hand side corner, you can see a sign of settings, a logo of setting. Click on that. Mm. Uh, just just hold on for a minute. Huh? Just a minute.
Okay.
Okay, sir. Everybody understanding, na guys? Like he's like properly teaching step by step. I sometimes jump here and there. Like there's a different way, na? For like everybody teach their styles are different. You just teach in like proper way. Step one, step two, step three. I just teach from everywhere. Am I right or wrong?
Sometimes.
Try building some projects. I will also assign some task also. I'm just figuring out like thinking what task I should be giving so that it should be like job oriented. Because if you will complete these things, na, your interview will be easy. Because nowadays what is happening now is like they are asking everything from Git, Jenkins, GitHub, everything they are asking. Like you will not understand. Okay, from there they will ask the questions. They will ask from Kubernetes advanced, Docker, multi-stage Docker builds. Like they will ask from anywhere. He will also teach this multi-stage Docker builds. Like what is it? And like they will ask from anywhere. Like, you should have to be prepared. Create one project. I will suggest. Okay, starting from Git till Kubernetes. Okay. So and everything should be automated. I will be helping you guys. Not to worry. We will build it together. साथ में करेंगे ठीक है no worries like Java codes Devita will provide right Amruta will provide Python application. Are you getting me my point? What will be going to happen? श्यान अपना एंड्रॉइड का वो करेगा, राइट? विच वन आई फॉरगेट यार, सॉरी, एंड्रॉइड, राइट?
Yeah,
कौन से?
iOS
हाँ,
both.
iOS. सो ट्राई करेंगे टू, लाइक वी विल बी रनिंग एवरीथिंग, ठीक है, एट सेम प्लेस। लाइक जो स्टोरीज आई हैव टोल्ड यू, राइट, कि सब कुछ एक साथ ही होता है, ऑल द एप्लीकेशंस विल रन टुगेदर, ठीक है। सो वी विल डू दैट इन प्रैक्टिकल। अभी क्या है, यू आर इन विद दिस थिंग, द होल जर्नी ऑफ पाइपलाइंस, दैट इंफिनिटी सर्कल्स, ठीक है। तो दिस इज द फर्स्ट स्टेप आई थिंक। गिट, डेवलपर्स कोड लिखता है, डेवलपर राइट द कोड, push it to the git, from git this jenkins will go pull, ठीक है, कोड्स ले आएगा, it will bring the codes from git, build it। ऐसा होता है ना, there is a factory, they just add some raw materials and chips and these things will come out right? It's a wrong example, but I hope you are understanding, right? In factory what happens, they add all the raw materials and the chips, packed items or cold drinks come outside, right? The finished products. So Jenkins Hildas is the same factory. It's a factory. See these symbols. You have not observed it clearly. See this hammer. Take this tool, hammer. You are getting this hammer tools. This hammer logo near your cursor. There is a logo. Just maximize it. This zoom a little bit. Plus, this one. See this hammer. These are build tools. It will configure, build, and give you the exact product that you need. ठीक है, everybody is understanding ना? Or till now, it will build, give us the new product, then we will be happy. Okay, what it will give? Tell me. Any idea?
Which one?
Jenkins. देखो Jenkins है. What it will give us? क्या देगा हमारे को?
Automation, basically the pipeline step,
You are right.
build, test, and deployment.
You are right. But output, I'm asking. You are right. I am looking for output. What it will give us? आउटपुट। हम पहले क्या करते थे, व्हाट वी यूज्ड टू डू, हम डॉकर इमेज बनाते थे, राइट? कितना टफ था, हाउ टफ इज डॉकर बिल्ड माइनस डी, डॉकर टैग, डॉकर पुल, दीज ऑल थिंग्स यू रिमेंबर ना, इट वाज वेरी टफ। तो हमको सी वी विल नॉट डू दिस अगेन, डॉकर बिल्ड, डॉकर पुश, यू रिमेंबर और फॉरगेट?
No, I remember.
So these things will, because see, I have never built Docker image. To be very honest, I'm saying, right? What I do, you might be thinking, कि आप करते क्या हो? What you do? If you don't know how to build Docker image and these things, I put everything in pipeline. Are you getting my point? I put every step in pipeline. अभी he will be showing you, ठीक है? He will do all this
Okay.
stuff. Because see, DevOps engineers are lazy. After this batch, think of it. That what I tried to say. DevOps engineers are lazy persons. ठीक है? Do you think I do kubectl earlier that I tried na kubectl f minus f, these all stuff? You think I do that in office? I have created everything automated. It don't mean that I don't work, but there is automation. Jenkins is there. ठीक है, Jenkins क्या है? What will happen?
That Kubernetes part also done by Jenkins also.
Not Jenkins. There is a tool Argo CD. वो क्या करता है? You don't need to apply. Go kubectl dash pods.
Like Jenkins only done that continuous integration and
देखो,
continuous deployment.
देखो what will it do? ठीक है, Jenkins क्या करेगा? What it will do? Let's everybody focus. Let me just understand from like what I'm trying to say. ठीक है, it's very easy. देखो, this box, what is this? This is your git. Now you are in a journey. ठीक है, what is this? Jenkins. ठीक है. See what is going on. देखो चल क्या रहा है. What is happening currently? You see, you studied everything in parts. Right? टुकड़ों में पढ़ा. Right? You have in small parts you have studied. Are you getting my point? You currently you are doing everything manually. Right? You study Docker. Then the next day you got to know, okay, there is Docker Hub also. ठीक है. So you learned these things, right? Like, see, this is the whole cycle. You are seeing something is happening currently. There is something going on. See the magic. Which tools you have learned? Tell me. कौन सा tool आपने सीख लिया? Which tool you have learned till now?
Git, Docker,
ये
Kubernetes.
ये वाला done, right? This one is done. Then this one, is it done or not?
Done.
This one, Docker Hub. Docker Hub, is it done or not?
Yes, it's done.
This one, it is also done, right? So we have completed everything. See, the work of this is still here. There is a limitation for everything. ठीक है? It will go to Git. It will ask, hey bro, do you have anything for me? Every second it will go to Git. It will ask, hey, do you have anything? See, this is Cyan. How I forget Cyan image. This is Cyan. See what is happening. Cyan is an Android developer. This is Devita. What you two guys do? Tell me. You, what is your work? Suppose you are not DevOps engineer. What you guys do? She write Java codes. That's it. She write Java codes. She go home. He write .NET. Sorry, Android Android codes, and he goes home. That is his work, right? So what is happening currently? He will push the code. He will come. Okay, Git. Do you have anything for me? Every second it will come. Do you have anything for me? Git tell okay, yeah, there is nothing for you. Again, next second he will come. Do you have anything for me? He will say, no, no, I don't have anything. It will do this 24 into 7. It keeps sending request. Because see, you guys are on leave or you guys are not pushing anything to Git, right? You guys are not pushing anything to Git. So this is the thing that is going on. So now once it will get the code, new code, suppose you push some code, it will build it, right? It will do all the building, right? Then it will create a Docker image, right? And then this Docker image it will create and send it to the Docker. His work is done. Are you getting my point, guys? But how this Kubernetes will pull this? There is nothing automation, right? How it will pull? Are you getting my point, guys? What is the problem? यहाँ से it picked, created Docker image, sent to Docker Hub. You are 50% DevOps engineer. Problem is here, there is no tool. For now, you don't know any tool, right? That can pull. So there is a miscommunications here. We are doing what? QCTL, right? QCTL apply -f. What was the file name? ngix.yaml. Do you think I write these YAML files? Just understand, currently I am having 50 services, 50 pods. Do you think I go and write all the YAML files? It was really big, right? You are understanding now what is the problem currently. Do you think I write those YAML files? Because yesterday he was telling me, okay, sir, go here to this, right? To understand now how I went to the website, I pulled all the copy pasted. I don't know this, I don't do these things because it don't mean, see, Syan or Devita, if you want to automate something, right, you should be knowing the manual stuff. Without knowing manually how you can automate something. Are you getting my point?
Yes.
If you want to automate something, you should be knowing manually. If you want to go to moon, right, and you don't know maths, are you getting my point? You will go to the some other planet, Mars, right? You Mars पे चले जाओगे or you will like burn. Are you getting my point? How important it is. Scientists don't do 2 plus 2. They have the softwares, right? They check, okay, where our aircraft is landing, right? Or think of it like what to say, pilot, right? Without maths, you cannot become pilot, right? But it don't mean that they are doing in the calculator 2 plus 2. It's not like, it's like same. I never, like I have not used this, right? But if you want to automate this, you need should be knowing manual. That is the reason we are adding the YAML files of how much lines was big na yesterday. So you have learned this, this, and this. Right now you are doing this. This is a factory. Manufacturing plant. Okay. Here your chips will be created. Which product you use? Tell me. Or cold drink. Anybody can tell. This is your processing plant. What is Jenkins? Tell me. Processing plant means it is called build tool. Don't say processing plant, okay, in interview. What is it? What is Jenkins? Bolo guys, what is Jenkins? You guys forget. What is Jenkins, guys? Answer. Jenkins is a build tool. Simple. How? Why you are taking so much stress? It's a build tool. What it will do? It will build. What it will build? Your codes. Are you get? See, you are DevOps engineer. Can you build the codes? कर लोगे आप? Is it not? It's impossible. So we need a build tool that can do the work for you. The Java codes are very tough. If somebody will give me Java code, na, if Devita will give me Java code, I will become mad. Really, I'm saying. Okay. Devita, like Java, it's very tough language, right?
Yes.
So how I will do that? I don't know Java. See, I'm a DevOps engineer working in MNC company, but still I don't know Java. See the problem. Because I know one tool that is called Jenkins, right? It will build for me, I will chill. But how to use that tool, I know. This example is right, like have you able to correlate? DevOps engineers are lazy persons. This is your task. Go and repeat 20 times today. Pritam, are you back?
Yes, sir.
Like you heard this example, na? DevOps engineers are lazy persons.
Yeah. I am present from last 2 weeks. Yeah.
Sorry?
So yes, this is the correct one.
Yes. Don't say this, but this is true. Okay, don't say in interview. Okay, the DevOps engineers are lazy. He will not hire you.
Yeah, lazy in the sense, most of the times the engineers are busy in doing some other things while the stuffs are being whole automated. So that is
Yes,
the part.
exactly.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on. Ab start kar.
So Sayan, can you please share your screen again?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So what we need to do is we need to set up a Jenkins agent. Okay, we need to connect our Jenkins agent to our Jenkins master. So for that, can you scroll down in the system configuration? In the system configuration panel, can you see the both option of nodes? Scroll up, Sayan. In the system configuration, can you see the option of nodes above that? Yeah. So using this nodes option, or we can say using this node feature, you can manage your nodes, your Jenkins master nodes and agent nodes. Okay. From here, you can add your agent nodes and remove your agent nodes. Okay. Or you can say you can configure your nodes. So click on that node. Okay. Now, what we need to do is we need to add a Jenkins node, okay, a Jenkins agent node. So you can see here, we are already having a node, okay, where that name of the node is built-in node. What is built-in node? So built-in node is actual your Jenkins master node, where your Jenkins is running. So your Jenkins master node is known as built-in node, okay, where your Jenkins is basically built or where Jenkins you are running. So this is your built-in node, and we need to add a new node, which will be your Jenkins agent. So click on new node, that blue button. Okay. Now give a name to your node. Agent. Okay. Agent node. Okay, fine. Select the type permanent agent. Click on that circle. Create. Guys, remember these whole steps which we are performing. Okay. So name of your node, which is agent node, then the description of the node. So give a small description like my first node or my Jenkins node, anything. Okay. Now remote root directory. Now what is the remote root directory? So you are adding an Jenkins agent, which will be a Linux machine. Okay, a Linux operating system. Okay, so Linux operating system is having multiple directories. So you will need to provide a path of your directory where your Jenkins operations or your pipelines will be executed in your Jenkins agent. Okay, so for an example, there is a path in your Linux machine named slash home, a forward slash home, and a forward slash Ubuntu. So that is a path of your Linux machine. Okay, so if you provide that path here, the directory path here, so what will happen? Whatever the Jenkins pipeline which you are running, that pipeline will get executed on that certain remote root directory path. Okay, so add a remote root directory path, which will be a forward slash home, give a forward slash home, and again forward slash Ubuntu. Okay. Now labels. Now what are labels? So you can consider labels as an extra tag for your Jenkins agent. Okay. Like we can provide multiple tags. Similarly, labels are considered as an extra tag for your Jenkins agent. Okay. Why do we need a label? So, like I mentioned earlier, for an example, if you have two Jenkins agent, okay, for an example, agent one and agent two, and if you want to execute your Jenkins pipeline on agent one, so what you will need to do is in your Jenkins pipeline, you need to define clearly that you need to execute this pipeline on your agent one. So for that, what you will need to do is, or what you will do is, you will provide the label of your agent one in your Jenkins pipeline. For example, the label of your agent one is, for an example, AG1. For an example, AG1 is the label of your agent one. So you will provide the label AG1 in your Jenkins pipeline. Now your AG1 label refers to your agent one. So that specific pipeline will get executed on your agent one. Okay, clear? Why the labels are
Okay, this
used?
is useful for like we have multiple agent for that only.
Yeah, for the multiple agent as well. And even if you have a single agent, then also whenever you are creating a Jenkins pipeline, you will need to declare clearly the label of the agent on which you need to execute your pipeline alarm. Clear?
Okay.
So you have given the label AG1. Okay. Then on usage, use this node as much as possible. Fine. Then launch method. Can you see the option of launch method? So we are launching this Jenkins agent through the SSH controller. So click on that launch method, click there. So you can see the second option, launch agent via SSH. We are using the SSH credentials for launching an agent. Okay. So here you will need to provide the credentials of your Jenkins agent, the SSH credentials of your Jenkins agent. Okay. So you will need to first of all provide the host IP of your Jenkins agent. Okay. So you can see there is a field named host. So there you will need to provide the host IP, the public IP of your Jenkins agent. Now, of your Jenkins agent, Sayan. Now what you are doing is you are providing the credentials of your Jenkins agent. Okay, the public
Okay.
IP, the username, and the private key file password. Okay, so this is the public IP of your agent. Then credentials. Below is the credentials. Click on that. Click on credential field. Yeah. So you can see there you are not having any certain credential. So what you will need to do is you will need to add your Jenkins agent credentials. Okay. So click on add, click on global. Okay. So you can see here there are the type of credentials which you can use. Like if you are having a credential type with the username and password, where there is a username and a password. If you have a GitHub app which you want to integrate with your Jenkins pipeline, or if you are having the credentials of the SSH, like SSH username with private key, a secret file, a secret text. So what are these? These are the type of credentials which you can provide. Okay. So sometimes what happen, if we need to do a login, so our username and our password will be a form of credential. Okay. And are you guys knowing me what is exactly a PAT, personal access token? All of you?
No, 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 no.
No.
Actually, I have not taught this thing. Actually, I was going to give them class of GitHub Actions in which Pat is there, but till now
Okay.
they don't know. Yes.
Uh, okay, so whenever we will cover the topic of the PAT, then we will again say this the type of credentials like the secret file, the secret text, or the certificates and all. Okay, so you will be, or like all of you guys, you will be able to relate it easily. Okay, at that topic. Okay, for now, select the.
One second, Shan. One second. Shan, I have sent one image in the group. आप एक बार open करना. Just let's clear it here only.
Okay, sure.
The group. It's Pat only. I will tell you. This image. See, these Git, Jenkins, Docker, right? These are different applications, right? How they will know each other. Jan pehchan, right? They are just. Suppose I don't know Aprota. Are you get? I don't know you also. So how we got to know? We have to exchange our numbers, right? You gave your number to me and I gave to you, right? That is PAT. With that tokens, we are able to coordinate with each other, right? That is called PAT. Some tokens, I only have your number and you only have my number, right? This is a through these numbers we are talking with each other. If somebody, what to say, some thief got my phone, right? He deleted all the number, he took my mobile. How I will be connecting with you? Are you getting my point? This is PAT, personal access token. That's it. Later, Preetham will be telling you how all these things configured. So we are doing what to say, PAT we are using right now. Go ahead.
Yeah, sure. So if you want to provide the PAT, like personal access token, as your form of password for your Jenkins agent or for the another forms and all, so there are options of it. Like you can see the second option, which is secret text. Okay. So through the secret text, you can provide your PAT, which is personal access token. If you are having a certain file, okay, file in the sense any certain file which is holding some password, so you can provide the secret file option, which is the third option. Okay, so there are multiple ways of providing the credentials. Now we are having the credentials of the SSH, so we will need to select the third option, which is SSH username with private key. Okay, so the options generally depends on the type of credentials which you are having. Okay, so we are having an SSH credential, so we are going to use them here. Then click on next. Okay, now scope. So global, we have keep the scope global. So your passwords, or we can say your certain credentials, will be accessed globally. Okay, then ID. So whenever you are creating a type of credential in your Jenkins, you will need to provide an ID. So give ID name like uh, SSH credential or any ID name of your choice. Then description. Okay, then username. Now what is the username here? So here you will need to provide the username of your Jenkins agent. Okay, so by default our Jenkins agent username is Ubuntu. Okay, now you can see an option of your private key. So here you will need to provide your private key. Okay, private key of your Jenkins agent. Okay, so click on enter directly. Yeah, click on add. Click on add, Cyan. Mm, do one thing. Uh, close that. Close that. Click on that cross arrow.
This one.
Yeah. Now again, click on add. Click on ID. Yeah. Again, give the whole information, the credentials. Click on add. Yeah. Now what here you will need to do is no, this is not the IP. No,
Okay,
Cyan,
okay.
this is not the IP. Here you will need to provide the private key file password of your Jenkins agent. Now, when we were launching our EC2 instances, the actual agent machine, okay, so at that time we have attached an key pair to it. Okay, so out
Yeah.
of that key pair, the private key file would have been installed, or we can say downloaded in your system. So your system will having an private key file. So
Yeah.
you have shown that private key file, right? Which you are having in your system. of that key pair.
Yes.
So open that private key file.
How to open
Yeah,
this?
open it through Notepad. Do a right click. You can see the first option, open with Notepad, something like that. First option. First, topmost option. Yeah, this is your whole private key file encrypted password. Okay, so copy this whole password. Do a Control A. Okay, yeah, have you copied?
Yeah.
Okay, paste it here. Okay, click on create, the blue button. No need of passphrase. Click on create. Okay, so your credentials has been now added. Now click on credentials and select that credential. Okay, now that credential is having your username and the actual private key. Okay, for connecting to your Jenkins agent, and above it you have given your IP address. Okay, now you can see here there is a host key verification strategy. Click on it and select the last option, non-verifying verification strategy.
Wait. Let's see.
Hello.
Last option, right?
Yeah, last option. Yeah. Now, what is non-verifying verification strategy? So, what generally happens whenever you try to connect your Jenkins agent? So, if you are providing the SSH credentials, so Jenkins master will try to verify the key inside it. Okay. So, we have set the strategy to non-verifying verification strategy. Okay. So that Jenkins will not do the later part of it. Okay, because if you try to set up that whole part, then there will be a lot of more configurations which you will need to add. Okay, yeah, so availability, which is keep this agent online as much as possible, which is correct. Okay, now click on save. Yeah, save option. Okay, now you have added your agent node, which is that agent node. Okay, and you can click on that agent node. Okay, and you can see that agent node is offline. Okay, on your right hand side you can see a button of launch agent, a blue button. Click on that. Now your agent is launching, but the SSH connection is failed, or your SSH connection will be failing continuously. Okay, now I have done this intentionally to show you all of you a thing which needs to be done. Okay, now why your agent launching is failing? The reason is, if you want to connect your Jenkins agent, any of a machine, to your Jenkins master, then what you will need to do is you will need to install the Java runtime on your Jenkins agent. Okay, as we discussed earlier, the whole Jenkins platform is basically built on Java. Okay, so on your master node, you will need to install the Java as well as Jenkins. But on your agent node, where you want to connect that agent node to your Jenkins master, you don't need to install, or you don't have any need to install the Jenkins on your agent node. But if you want to connect that agent node to your Jenkins master, then you will need to install the Java on
Java.
your certain machine. Okay, clear? Is it clear?
Yeah.
So go on your Jenkins agent. So yeah, run the command for installing the Java. Okay, now the Java is installed on your agent. Now again go to your UI, the Jenkins UI. Okay, now can you go one step back here? Okay, scroll up more, scroll up. Okay, yeah. Again, launch, click on launch agent. Okay, click on that agent node where you have clicked previously.
This one.
Yeah, click there, yeah. Okay, yeah. There is an option next to the launch agent. Mark this node temporary offline. Click there. Give a certain reason to it, like any letter, like any reason, a short word or letter we can say like ABC or anything. Okay, yeah. Click on mark this node temporary offline. Okay, now you can see a blue button then bring this node back online. So like what we are doing is we are doing like a restart. We are restarting it. So click on that. Click on launch agent again. Okay, go on your Jenkins agent once. Jenkins agent, the terminal of the agent. Then the terminal of your Jenkins agent.
Where? Oh, sorry.
No worry. Okay. Run a command Java space hyphen version. Hit enter. Java is present. Java open JDK. Okay. 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 Go on your Jenkins UI. Again, click on node. Click on that agent node. Okay. Click on launch agent. Let's check again. SSH connection failed. So what is the reason? Launch connection, cleaning up connection, auth authentication message, authenticate public key, manager. Do one thing. Scroll up. Do a scroll up. Scroll up. Scroll up more. On your top left hand side, there is a third option, configure. Click on configure. Scroll down. Scroll down. Scroll down. Scroll down. Scroll down. Okay. Scroll up. Scroll up. Okay. In the credentials, we have given the credentials Ubuntu new SSH create ID at on. Click there. Click there. Okay. So open your private key file once. You have copied all the stuff, right?
Yeah, from here to this part only, not the beginning of this.
Have you added any passphrase for your private key file or your for your key pair?
Sorry,
Have you added any passphrase for your key pair?
what that means? No, no.
Passphrase like an additional password we can say. Without
No,
that,
no,
your
no.
key pair will not work.
No.
Okay. Minimize this. Click on that credential, Ubuntu SSH and all. Okay. Click on add new credential. Assert username with private key. ID. Give it a different ID. Okay. Description. Username Ubuntu. Okay. Enter key directly. Add. Now open your notepad. No, wait. Open your notepad. Copy all the content. To control A, yeah, copy. Scroll down more, scroll down. End of RSA private key. Can you scroll up till the whole up? Begin RSA. Okay. Click on create. Okay. Now, yeah, use the new one. New SSH agent ID. New SSH. Okay. This is the new one, right? Which we have created now. Yeah. Yeah. Scroll down more. And wait. Scroll up. That host key verification strategy, it is non-verifying. Okay, good. Now, yeah, it is. Now click on save. Now click on launch agent or relaunch agent. Okay, so the agent has been launched successfully. And on your left hand side, can you see the third last option of log? So you can see here, your agent is successfully connected and online. Okay. So what could be the reason why our previous agent was failing to get connected? So the key file, the first line and the last line of your key file was missing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is how we have connected our Jenkins agent to our Jenkins master. Now tell me guys, Sayan, Amruta, everyone who is present in the meeting, the whole steps of how we can connect an agent to our master is clear to all of you?
Yeah.
Or why our previous agent was failing and what are the certain changes we have done now so that our agent is connected to our master and all? Is it clear?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Okay, sure. So on your top left hand side, click on that Jenkins name. So you can see there, yeah, in that left hand side only, there is a build executor status. So here it shows the certain machines, or we can say the nodes which you are having in your Jenkins. So you are having a built-in node and an agent node. Right?
Okay.
Okay, sure. Now what we are going to do is we are going to create a Jenkins pipeline for a simple application. Now what we want to do is we want to deploy our application, a simple portfolio, okay, inside our machine, okay, where that application needs to be deployed inside a Docker container. That Docker container will be living inside the machine, okay. So we are having a machine inside which there will be a Docker container of our application, and the Docker container will be running inside the machine. So for that, what are the steps which you will need to perform to deploy the application in the container and all? So first of all, if you see by a engineer way or from the engineer's perspective, so what you will need to do is, first of all, you will need to clone your Git repository inside which your source code or your application code will be there in your machine. Once you clone your repository, okay, after that, in the second step, you will need to build the Docker image of that source code Okay, why Docker image? Because we are going to deploy our application inside the container. So in the second step, we are going to build the Docker image of that source code. Now, after second step, in the third step, what you are going to do is you are going to deploy a Docker container with that Docker image in your machine. Okay. So what we need to do is we need to automate this whole steps, or we can say the phases, where we are going to clone a repository, then we are going to build an image from that source code, a Docker image, and then in the third and last step, we are going to run a Docker container using that image. Okay. So what we are doing is we are automating this whole steps. We are doing a clean automation here. Okay, where you don't need to clone the repository manually. You don't need to build the Docker image manually by running the Docker build command. And after that, you don't have any need to run a Docker container manually as well by running the Docker run command. We are doing the full automation here of this whole steps. I think it is clear to all of you guys. Is it clear? So we are going to do this thing here now. For that, we will need to create a pipeline. Okay. So on your top left hand side, yeah, click on new item, give an item name. Okay. Then select an item type, which is pipeline, the first item type. Okay. So there are multiple items which you can create like freestyle jobs, multi-configuration project folder and all. But for now, we are focusing on pipeline. So click on pipeline, then click OK. Then we need to configure a pipeline here. We will need to provide the information of the pipeline, and then at last we will need to create a pipeline. Okay. So scroll up and give a description of your pipeline, like why you are creating a pipeline, a short description of it. Uh, do not give descriptions like this, Saya. Like you need to
Just
provide a short context why you are creating this pipeline. So you are creating a pipeline for automating your deployment. So you can give a name like something like a CICD pipeline for your portfolio deployment, something like that. Okay. And scroll down, scroll down, scroll down more. Yeah. So you can see a pipeline script here. Okay. Now what is a pipeline script? So pipeline script generally consider a set of instructions, or we can say the information of the phases which needs to be automated. Okay. So what you need to do is you need to create a Jenkins pipeline. Okay. And inside that pipeline, you will define clearly that what are the stages which needs to be automated, like stage one, stage two, stage three. What are the phases which you need to automate? Okay. So you define this whole information like the stage one, stage two, and stage three, which needs to be automated in a script. Okay. In a Jenkins pipeline script. And once you run your pipeline, that whole script is get executed on your machine, on your Jenkins agent. Okay. So script will contain multiple phases or multiple stages like stage one, stage two, stage three. So once you run your Jenkins pipeline, the stage one, stage two, and stage three will build or get executed accordingly. Okay, so first of all, your stage one will get executed, then your stage two, and then your stage three. Okay, clear?
okay.
So you will need to create a pipeline here. So Jenkins pipeline script basically uses a Groovy syntax, or we can say it is a Groovy script. Now, what is a Groovy script? So Groovy script is basically a program which is written in Apache Groovy. Okay, so it is basically used for the JVM. Okay, which is Java virtual machine. Okay, it is basically designed a specific language for the Java virtual machine, which is JVM. Okay, so Groovy script is basically considered as a scripting language. Okay, which is mostly and widely used by the developer to or do some configuration task, or we can say to build some Jenkins pipeline. Okay, so we will need to use the Groovy syntax here. So how is the Groovy syntax? So first of all, your Jenkins pipeline will always start with a keyword named pipeline. So type pipeline space, and give an parenthesis, an opening and closing of parenthesis. No, these are double quotes. Wait, let me share on the group the exact of it. I have shared an example of it on the group, on the WhatsApp group. Copy that whole. So this is a basic syntax of your Jenkins pipeline. Your pipeline will always start with a root element, or we can say a keyword named pipeline, which is at the start, and then it is having an parenthesis. Okay, so your Jenkins pipeline stages or the root element is generally wrapped under the parenthesis. It is a syntax of it. Okay, so you can say that it uses the specific Groovy syntax for this. Okay, so your pipeline root element is having a parenthesis, so it will have an opening and a closing parenthesis. Okay, then under it you are having an agent. What is agent? So like I mentioned earlier, whenever you create a Jenkins pipeline, you will need to give a name of your agent, a label of your agent. Okay, where that Jenkins pipeline should get executed. Okay, so you can see here we have given an agent, and again it is having a parenthesis, and inside the parenthesis we have given the label of the agent on which we need to execute our certain pipeline. So we are having a Jenkins agent, whether the Jenkins agent is having a label of AG1. Okay, so provide that AG1 label there, remove that node under the single quotes, and provide that AG1 label there. Now what will happen? So this certain pipeline which we are creating now, this pipeline will get executed on your agent who is having a matching label of AG1. It's clear to all of you guys what is the agent and all? Hello.
Yeah, yeah.
So then we are having stages. Okay, what are stages? So like I mentioned, through Jenkins pipeline, what you want to do is you want to automate your certain steps. Like in the first step, you are cloning your repository. So you want to automate that step. You don't want to manually clone your repository. Then in the second stage or in the second step, what you are doing is you are building your Docker image. For that, again, you will need to run a command. So you don't need to run that command manually. You are automating it. So that is your second stage. Now, in the third step, what you are doing is you are running a container. Again, you will need to run a command. So you will need to automate that certain command again. So that is your third stage. So under the stages, you can define the multiple stage which you need to automate, like stage one, stage two, and stage three. So stages is that element under which you can define the multiple phases, or we can say the steps which you need to automate. Then under the stages, you can see here we have defined a new stage. Okay, so stage, and you can see the name of the first stage is test. Okay, now what I'm doing is I'm explaining the whole syntax. So guys, please understand the syntax. if you got the syntax how to write a Jenkins pipeline, then the same syntax is used below also, or the down also. Okay, because you just need to provide the commands then, or we can say the phases which you need to automate. Rest whole of the syntax will remain the same. Okay, so under the stages we have given the first stage where the name of the stage is test. Okay, so I think you have changed the name of the test. So give the name the checkout. Oh no no, wait. Do control Z, checkout. Yeah. Okay. For the checkout, so like I mentioned, what we want to do is in our first step we want to clone the repository. So in technical terms or in development term, checkout means you are cloning a repository. Okay. So this is the name of the first stage, which is checkout. Okay, in which we are cloning a repository, and under that stage you can see there is an parameter named steps. Now what are steps? So in each stage you will run some certain commands which needs to be automated. Like what was your first stage? You need to clone your repository. So for cloning your repository, definitely you will run a command, a CLI command like git clone or something like that. Then in your second step, you want to build your Docker image. So for building your Docker image, definitely there will be a command. So whatever the command which you need to automate through that certain stage, you need to provide that command under the steps. Okay. So steps is that specific argument, or we can say the parameter under which you will provide the certain command which you need to automate through that certain stage. Okay. So steps, and under that there is a command named echo. So guys, are you knowing with echo command?
Yeah.
Okay. So echo command generally prints a statement, or we can say it generally prints a message on the terminal which we have passed. So echo code checkout, we are doing a code checkout. This command will get automated through your checkout stage, and then next to it we are having a git URL. Okay. So in the git URL we have provided a URL, a specific endpoint of git repository which needs to be cloned, and after that we have given the branch name which is master. Okay, so we will need to change that repository as the repository name is different. Wait, I will provide the repository endpoint on the group. So Sayan, I have provided the correct repository endpoint on the group. Copy that repository endpoint. Yeah, replace that repository endpoint with the new one which I have given.
Branch is the same or main?
Yeah, branch will be same. Okay, so till this certain step, is everything clear?
Yeah.
Okay, now this is the stage for checking out the source code, or for cloning your repository. That is only the checking out your source code. Okay, and can you see guys, on the 10th line you are getting an cross mark. Okay, so why you are getting that cross mark? So the reason is there is an syntax error in this. Okay, the
Yeah.
opening and closing of your parenthesis is not done here. So if you see closely, yeah, now you have corrected it. Good, good. So on the 11th line, remove the spacing. Go on the 11th line, uh, remove the spaces. Yeah, good. It's correct now. Okay. So this is the ending parenthesis of your pipeline root element, the first root element. Okay. Okay, good. Now in the first stage, we have given this stage, or we have created this stage for checking out our source code. Now in the second stage, what we need to do is we need to build our Docker image. So again, I've given the stage information on the WhatsApp group. Copy that stage. Yes, just understand the syntax. The whole syntax is same. Once you got the syntax, then you only need to add your certain commands which you need to automate. Then the whole syntax will remain with the same. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So you can
Comes
see
to a
here.
Docker image build.
Yeah, correct. So we are having a second stage where the name of the stage is built. Okay. And you can see here inside that build stage, we are having steps. Okay. So the first step is echo building the code. So it will print the message building the code. Then sh. So sh just shell. Okay. So what we need to do is we need to build the Docker image. So for building the Docker image, there is a command named Docker build. Okay. So this is the repository, okay, which is having the whole source code. And inside it, there is a Docker file also. You can see here. This is the Docker file of that application. Okay. Okay. So yeah, in the second command, we have given the command for building the Docker image. So a Docker image will be built or it will get created in your machine named portfolio latest. Okay. So is this stage clear?
Yeah.
Okay. Then a last stage is remaining, which is to build a container or run a container. Again, I have provided that stage on WhatsApp. Go on your WhatsApp. Yeah, let's do it. Okay, correct. Now we just need to fix the indentations. Okay. Now go on your next line, press enter, and give a parenthesis, add a parenthesis there. Close a parenthesis. Yeah. Okay. 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 So click on any line like 24 or 25. So I think the cross mark will go. Click anywhere. Click anywhere there. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So this is your third and last stage named deploy. So in this stage, we are going to automate the commands for deploying your container. So you can see there echo deploying code, then sh docker container prune hyphen f. So what does this command will do? Docker container prune hyphen f. So it will delete all the existing containers. And then the last command is docker run hyphen name portfolio container hyphen d hyphen p 805173 and portfolio latest. Okay. So I think you will be knowing with this command docker run, docker build, and all, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Everyone, guys. Okay. So this is our basic Jenkins pipeline. Okay. Through this basic Jenkins pipeline, what we are doing is we are automating the whole stuff of the deployment. We are cloning the repository in our first step. In our second step or in our second stage, we are building the image of that source code. And in our third stage, we are deploying the container of that certain application. Okay. With that image which we have built. So is this whole clear to all of you guys so that we can proceed further and we can see the actual implementation that how this whole automation works. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure. Now click on save. Okay. Now do one thing. Go on your Jenkins agent terminal of the Jenkins agent. Yeah, right. So this is the actual place, or we can say the machine where your Jenkins pipeline will get executed. So whatever the stages and the commands, or we can say the steps inside that stages which you have defined, all that steps and the commands will get executed on that Jenkins agent. Okay, on this agent, on this machine. Okay. So why we have came back to the Jenkins agent terminal? Because we will need to install the Docker. Now, why we need to install the Docker? Because once you run your pipeline, so in your second stage of your pipeline, it will run a Docker command for building the image. So the Docker command will not get executed on your instance. It will fail because your Jenkins agent is not having the Docker tool inside it. Now there are two options. You can either automate the Docker installation steps again through your Jenkins pipeline, or you can do it manually. We are doing it manually here, so we can keep the thing simple. Clear?
Okay.
So we will need to install the Docker here. So for that, run a command for installing the Docker. Enter. Mm, do up arrow. Click up arrow on your keyboard. Uh, Give the name docker.io. .io. Enter. Okay. Run a command docker ps. Okay, so you don't have the permission to connect to the Docker daemon. Now, what we will need to do here, Sayan? Anyone can tell what we need to do here.
We need to start Docker.
No, Docker is already in the running phase. It is already active. What we need to do here is we need to add our Ubuntu user in our Docker group. Okay, because our Ubuntu user is not having the required permissions of accessing the Docker daemon or contacting with the Docker daemon. Okay. So for that, the user Ubuntu needs to be present in the Docker group, so that whatever the users which are present in your Docker group, only that users are having the access to connect with your Docker daemon. Okay. So for that, there is a command sudo space user mode usermod space hyphen a capital G space Docker space Ubuntu. Enter. This is the command for adding your Ubuntu user in your Docker group. Enter. Now run a command new grep newgrp newgrp space Docker. Enter. What this command will do is new newgrp. Yeah, he was missing. Yeah, new grep not found.
Okay. GRP.
Docker. Enter. Okay. Yeah, correct. So yeah, that was bad from my side. Sorry. So yeah. So what does this command will do? New grep Docker. So this command will refresh your Docker group once. Okay, so we will need to refresh a group if we have added any new user into that group. Okay, so run the command again docker ps. Okay, okay, good, good. Now do one thing. Go on your Jenkins UI. You can see here we are not having any certain containers which are running inside your Jenkins agent or inside your machine. Now go on your Jenkins UI. Okay. So what you will need to do is you will need to refresh or restart your Jenkins UI. Okay. So the reason is, so if you run your Jenkins pipeline directly now, so there are higher chances that your Jenkins pipeline will get failed. The reason is just now we have installed the Docker on your Jenkins agent, and immediately after that, if you run your Jenkins pipeline, then that pipeline will get executed on your agent. Okay, but sometime it can happen that the Jenkins master is not knowing with the latest state of your Jenkins agent, that whether the Jenkins agent is having the Docker or not. Since we have installed Docker now only after connecting our agent to our Jenkins master. Okay. So
Okay.
what we will need to do is we will need to restart our Jenkins. Okay. So for that, uh, do one thing, go to your Jenkins master. Okay. Now run a command sudo systemctl restart Docker. Sorry, restart Jenkins, not Docker, because we have installed the Jenkins Studio. Yeah, enter. So this command will restart your Jenkins service. Now to check whether your Jenkins is running or not, or whether it's restarted or not, you can run again a command sudo systemctl status Jenkins. Status, enter. So it's active and running. Now open your Jenkins UI, refresh it once. No, wait. Refresh it once. You will again need to do a login. Yeah, sign in, because you have restarted your Jenkins. Now this is your Jenkins job. Now what you will need to do is you will need to build this job. Now it is built. So whenever you will run your pipeline, a build of that pipeline is created. Okay. And that build contains all the information of the logs. We can see the output which has been generated by your pipeline, like whether the pipeline has been failed or successfully executed or not. So you will need to create a build of it. So click on build now. Once you click on build now, your Jenkins pipeline will get executed. Okay, click on build now. Once your Jenkins pipeline will get executed, all the certain stages, or we can say the phases which you have added in your pipeline, will get executed on your Jenkins agent. Okay, so you can see here in the builds, your first build is running. Okay, you can see your first build is running, and once your build is running, or once your build is started, then whatever the stages, like stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, whatever the stages which you have mentioned in your Jenkins pipeline, these stages gets executed step by step. Like first your stage 1 will get executed, then your stage 2, and then stage 3. So first of all your stage 1 command will run, then once it completed, then it will jump on stage 2, then stage 2 steps or commands will run, then stage 3. Okay, and you can see here you have gotten tick mark, a green tick mark, which generally tells us that our deployment has been completed successfully, and our Jenkins pipeline has been executed successfully without any certain error. Now if you go on your Jenkins agent, go on your Jenkins agent terminal, the terminal of the Jenkins agent. This is the actual place, or we can say the operating system machine, where our Jenkins pipeline is executed. Now if you again run the docker ps command, you can see here you are having a Docker container. Okay, now tell me one thing, everyone guys, that have you deployed this route Docker container manually? Everyone.
No.
Prajakta, Amruta, hello.
Yes, yes.
Devika, okay. What happened, guys? Like, are you feeling sleepy or what? Like, it's almost 10:45. Okay. Okay. So last 5 minutes are remaining, then we will wrap up our session as the topic is almost completed. Okay. So the Docker container which we have deployed in a certain machine, we have not deployed the Docker container manually. Okay. the Docker container deployment has been done completely through an automation way or through an automation platform, which is Jenkins. Okay, so you can also run a command named Docker images. You can check the image. Hello, yeah, Docker images. Enter. So you can see here you are having an image with the name portfolio. So again, you have not built your Docker image manually. What has happened is you have completely automated the certain steps of cloning a repository, then building a Docker image, and then running a container through your Jenkins pipeline or through your Jenkins platform, where you don't need to run the manual commands again and again. What you can do is you can create a Jenkins master agent architecture, configure the master agent architecture, configure the agent on which you will need to deploy your containers and all, and create a Jenkins pipeline for it. Okay, in which you will define all the steps for deploying your containers and define all the stages and phases which you need to automate, which you don't need to do it manually. Okay, so this Docker container is running, and you can see here we can accept or we can see the Docker container data or we can see the application inside it on port number 80. So do one thing, open the security group of your Jenkins agent and check whether the HTTP protocol has been enabled or not in the inbound rule of your Jenkins agent. Okay, I think both Jenkins master and agent is having the same security group, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so one more point from my side. So what happens whenever you set up a master agent architecture, not only for Jenkins, for Kubernetes or for any tool where the architecture is having more than one node or multiple nodes. So it is generally suggested or it is generally preferred that each node should have a separate or a unique security group. Like your master node should have a separate security group and your agent node should have a separate security group. Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, it is having the port number 80, which is the HTTP protocol. Okay, now what you can do is you can open your Jenkins agent IP on the browser tab, public IP, and then you will be able to access that portfolio.
Which one? This one.
The public IP of the Jenkins agent. Yeah. No, 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 no. You have given port number 8080. No port number 8080. The container is running on. Okay, so the container is accepting the traffic on port number 80. You can see there. Go on your Jenkins agent once. Go on your Jenkins agent.
This one.
The terminal of the Jenkins agent. You can see there the container is accepting the external traffic on port number 80. Can you see the ports there?
Yeah.
0.0.0. It is open for all side IPv4 on port number 80. So you just need to copy your Jenkins agent public IP. Copy that Jenkins agent public IP. Copy and open it on a new tab. Enter. Now you can see the portfolio is buffering. The it depends on the network speed as well, network speed and all. So can you see the application or a basic portfolio? Everyone, guys. Prajakta, Amruta, Devita. Hello. What happened, guys? Is everyone feeling sleepy or what? Okay, so this is our whole stuff. Now, what was our main aim? To deploy the portfolio application in our machine. Okay, for that we need to clone the repository, we need to build the Docker image, and we need to uh, deploy the container of it. So what we have done through Jenkins is we have automated this whole steps. We have created a Jenkins pipeline and we have automated this whole certain stuff. Okay, so tell me guys, is this whole Jenkins platform, or we can say the Jenkins pipeline, it's certain topics like master agent architecture and all, is it all clear to all of you guys? Devita, Prajakta, Amruta, Sayan, I'm asking to all of you.
Yes. Yes, yes. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Any one of you, are you having any certain doubts in it? Any confusion on any step?
No.
Is everything clear? If you have any doubt, any confusion, you can ask it openly. There's nothing to hesitate and all.
I have one question.
Yeah,
If you work on any real project, at that time, does a developer use different agents for parallel builds and for different environment like Linux and Windows?
definitely. So what happens, like we mentioned in the early of your lecture only, that what happens, each project is having a separate space of environments, or each application will be having a separate space of environments like development, testing, prod, pre-prod, and many environments. So for each environment there will be a separate set of machines, or a separate infrastructure, we can say. For your development environment there will be a separate machines, for your prod there will be the separate machines. So if you need to execute the certain pipelines on any certain machine, then you will need to provide the label of that machine. Okay, so if you want to execute your pipeline on your, for an example, on your environment space, or we can say on your environment, like in the sense your development environment. Okay, so if you want to execute your whole pipeline on your development environment, then you will need to provide the label of that machine, okay, which is present in your development environment. So your specific pipeline will get executed on your development environment machine. Okay, got it, Devita, what I was trying to say?
Yes, yes, yes.
So any more doubts, Prajakta, Ruta?
That same work done by GitHub Actions also. That
Yeah, you
Jenkins would.
can do the, yeah, same, you can do the same work, like same kind of automation and all, by the GitHub actions also.
Okay.
Any other things? uh, Consider that it is clear to each and everyone. Okay, now tell me one thing about the yesterday's lecture about the Kubernetes. Have you practiced it, everyone? Have you implemented
Yeah,
this
a
stuff?
little bit.
Okay, okay. So just like sir mentioned, in next week, what we will do is we will take a small mock of each one of you, okay, related to the topics which we covered in the yesterday's and today's lecture. A small mock of 10 to 15 minutes and all. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So that was all for today. I hope the session was informative and all. So we will wrap up the session now. Now have a good dinner and have a good sleep and all. Everyone is sleepy and all.
Yeah,
So
you too.
yeah, sure. Okay. So sir, we will wrap up the session now. I think the sir is not present on the board. Okay, sure. So everyone can leave the meeting. Yeah.